afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Freedback Friday edition of the Rundown. My name is Mike Poworski. I will be hosting the program today, but I could never do this program without my beloved co-host for the mostest from the West Coast. So please say hello to him.
Mikey, you are too kind. You are too kind. I am Craig DeLuz coming at you from the West Coast, coming to you from California, here on the West Coast. So it's always fun to be with you, and it's especially fun to be with you on Freedback Friday.
Freedback Friday. Craig, why do we call it Freedback Friday? Because...
Go ahead. You were going to tell him.
I'll tell him the first part, because we got free stuff.
Free stuff. Hold on. Let me give them the full shot of the free stuff. Tell them what the free stuff is.
The free stuff is a 9mm rail from our good friends at Grid Defense, free float rail, lightweight rail with M-lock on it, with the mounting hardware, all secure in the bag. I mean, that's as far as you know, that's brand new. I hadn't put it on my rifle and tested it. It looks brand new, folks. So this is a 9-inch rail from our good friends at Grid Defense.
Excellent. Now, how do they go about winning or getting this free stuff?
Well, this is going to be a difficult one for them, Craig, because I just bought a 10-inch 45 caliber barrel, so it might be really hard for them to win today because I have a need for this rail now.
Why does that not surprise me, Mikey? Why does that not surprise me at all?
The way they win is to be involved in the program. This is Freedback Friday. We've opened up the boards so you can call in. Well, I guess you can't call in. You can text in. You can dial in. What do they do, Craig? How does this work? They go to the MySpace and do something, or what is it?
You got to comment. You got to be a part of the comments on either Facebook or our YouTube channel, which, by the way, are the only places that this is streaming. The only place that you can comment. So if you want to be a part, that's where it's got to be. Just look us up on YouTube, The Rundown. Look us up on, by the way, to find us on YouTube, just put in therundown.us. That's the URL. It'll take you right to our YouTube channel. Also, you can find us on Facebook.
There you go. Remember, rule number 1, never cross the streams. You don't want to do that. And 2, Craig, if they don't find yesterday's program on Facebook, why is that?
Oh, well, not on Facebook, but on YouTube. So here's the deal. So yesterday we talked about masks and our masks making a comeback. And YouTube decided that they were going to flag our post because they said it provided inaccurate medical information. Now, you guys might know that Mikey and I both talked about COVID. We talked about COVID-19. We talked about masks. We talked about vaccines. And we talked about how stupid some of the advice that the government is giving. But we presented it from all sides. And in the end, we said, well, in the end, what you should do is inform yourself, get advice from the medical professionals that you trust, and make a decision for yourself. And evidently, that's not what YouTube wants you to do.
No, YouTube wants you to do what YouTube wants you to do. They want you to go to the World Health Organization and the United Nations and somewhere else and get your information. Folks, let me say this. I am a licensed physician assistant in the Philippine Islands. I went to the Sweetwater Institute of Leg Shaving and Sensitivity Salon in Quezon City. So if you need any medical advice, you just come to Mike and he'll take care of you.
Okay. All right, Mikey. Well, let's go ahead. Why don't we go ahead and get into today's news stories now that you have put out your medical bona fides?
It's true. I mean, it's all true. I can help you whenever you want. Whenever you want, let me know. Let me know. Listen, or I'd probably go to our good friends at Doctors for Responsible Gun Ownership first, drgo.us. I'd probably throw a free plug out to them with our good friends there, Dr. Adine, Dr. White. Say hello to all of them. So check them out first. But when you can't, you got some issues, I can help you out. All right, Craig. First off, we're going to apologize a little bit today for a little late start. Craig, I don't know if you ever had this happen to you. I got off with the exit on the highway today, and it's one of those single lane exits with the unmanned toll plaza.
Yeah.
There was a truck driver there who didn't have exact change and thought it would be okay to just sit there in the lane for 20 minutes or so. And that's a true story. The other part of the true story is the mob of about 30 people that threatened to pull him from the truck and beat his ass until a quarter came out of his pocket. So we put the quarter in there, and one of the guys drove his truck away and left that guy standing there. So sorry about
Mikey,
your luck.
Mikey said ass.
That's rule number one. True story. I'll send the pictures later. All right, Craig, let's get this started. Our topic, the top story tonight, we're talking to you about guess who's committing hate crimes. Recent study. Now, hold on, Craig. I've got to bring this. I got to bring a quote up from this story. This story was so out there that I have to make fun of them right now. Let's see here. Okay. This is from Newsweek, and our author's there. Because I want to or not listed in the top part. So we'll take care of the bottom. First off, if you don't know how to write common sentences, use common words, can't make a proper thought, you've got no business being near a keyboard. And that includes you, the keyboard commandos we all know out there. I wouldn't even acknowledge them. Listen, hey, bro, find punctuation to get back to me. Something like that.
Or get an editor that knows what they're doing.
Yes. And that's something, listen, and Craig, that's something that, you've taught before is how to introduce people that want to be involved in the Second Amendment community, how to get things published, how to get on radio, how to get to TV and things like that. And one of it is the first way is your writings. And there's two rules. One is get somebody to review it and edit it. And two, don't post that crap on social media. You've got to wait until, if you want to really publish someplace, current newspapers, magazines like that, they want original content. They don't want something that you've left on your Facebook page. You need to again have it edited. Here's how this story starts, and then it lost me, Craig. So I'm going to have to hand it off to you because I cannot read bad writing. Released Wednesday, this report is a comprehensive national review of the hate crime laws that shows where laws variate.
I can't do it.
Let me say that again. It shows where laws variate. Okay. Craig, we have variations and we have vary. Variate is a made-up freaking word. You just put it in the middle. There is no variate. The word is vary and variation. Those are the two terms of it. It's like to converse and to have a conversation. There is no conversate in the middle. Stop making up freaking words.
But here's the problem. See, you just don't know your communication skills are clearly not up to par. You clearly don't understand that, the ability to produciate words is considered to be intellectualizing things.
You see, if you want to publish those type of words, stick to your MySpace page.
Right.
If you want to be in someplace like Newsweek, no, absolutely not. Newsweek actually used to be a reputable source for news.
Yeah. Not anymore. But let's get to the main point. I get what you're saying, but let's get to the main point of the story.
I got to give you the next sentence.
All right. One more.
Though the majority of hate crimes in the U.S. are committed by white people. Okay, fact number one, we have majority of hate crimes are committed by white people. We got that, Craig? You got that?
That's fact.
Okay. But that's it. Though the majority of hate crimes in the U.S. are committed by white people, motivated by racial or ethnic bias, the crimes disproportionately reported black Americans as the attackers. Okay, hold on. If white people commit the majority of the attacks, how can black people be the majority of the attackers?
See, Mikey, okay, now, folks, you have to understand this. Mike and I have not talked about this story at all. I am literally, it is amazing because he picked up on the very 2 points that I wanted him to pick up on. Now, he did it in reverse order, but that's it exactly. It's like, okay, so wait a minute. So we're finding that hate crimes that are reported, right? We're talking about they're reported to law enforcement, yada, yada, yada. Hate crimes that are reported are largely or mostly the largest group that's perpetrating them. Sorry, I was trying not to make up a word there. But the group that's perpetrating them tend to be black Americans. But somehow, now once again, this is the data and the statistics that are provided. And yet the reporter makes it clear, because it's obvious, that most hate crimes are committed by white people, because we know this, and we know why they do it too, because of racism and hatred of people of other ethnicities. But then proceeds to offer zero data, zero information, zero of anything to substantiate the fact that most hate crimes are committed by white people. It is incredulous. It was like, and then we get into the whole, making up words and stuff.
This one just dumbfounded me. It says that the majority of hate crimes are committed by white people, but that the majority of the attackers are black. Wait a second. The majority of the people that commit the crimes are white, but the majority of the attackers are black.
Well, no, Mikey. They don't even say that. What they report is in the reports, the majority of the attackers. So what they're saying is that the people who are filing the reports, right, are saying, well, most of them are saying, or at least a large portion of them are saying, black people are committing these crimes. But what she is saying is that, well, so the question is one of two things. Either she's saying that they're just flat out lying and the people who are committing the crimes aren't black and people are being racist by pointing out that the crimes that black people are doing, or, and here's the other one, or that they're just not reporting hate crimes that are committed by white people. Once again, though, providing absolutely no proof.
No.
Because we're supposed to just assume it.
Yeah, absolutely right. Yeah, absolutely. It's clear to the author here with no evidence, supporting evidence whatsoever, that hate crimes are committed by white people. Because we know, Craig, the way she tells us this, that because white people commit hate crimes because of racism and bias. But you have to go with you have to direct your comments down the line here and realize that if she's telling you that it's white people that have racism and bias, that means that the black people don't.
Right.
But black people commit the majority of the attacks.
Black people are incapable of hate. We are incapable of hate, Mike. You clearly, your certification as a racial sensitivity trainer is really being called into question here. You do realize that, black people are incapable. We cannot do hateful things, right? We cannot be hateful. We cannot be racist. We just can't. It doesn't happen. That's not the way this thing. Well, okay, it is the way this. I mean, dude, it just doesn't happen, right? That's what they say anyway.
Make sure you stick to the facts here. Don't variate on me. You have to stick.
Don't variate from the facts.
Oh boy. Yeah, listen, I just, and you could see how these people are sitting there patting themselves on the back with, look how great my story is about racism and white people. And two sentences and we're out. Anybody that passed, ninth grade English is out at this point on your story. It makes no sense whatsoever. You might as well have filled it with double negatives. And I know this author probably has no idea what we're talking about.
I think fiber optic on YouTube has actually solved the problem. The color issue. He's saying that Oreo cookies are the ones committing the crimes.
Could be.
Could be.
Right.
Could be. That very well could be it. People who are conflicted, right? They are racially, their racial identity. They are conflicted with their racial identity. Maybe they think they're white, so therefore they want to inflict their white rage on other people of color. But turns out they're actually black. You know who it is? What's his name? Is it Clayton Bigsby?
Oh, yeah, Clayton Bigsby. Yeah.
That's who it is. That's who is committing these crimes.
That's right. Remember, he ended up getting divorced at the end, Craig.
Yes, I do know. I do remember, and I remember why he got divorced.
Yep.
This once again, family show. Don't want to say
family
the word,
show.
but
If
you've never seen that
today,
skit on the Chappelle Show, you have to take a moment to see it.
Yeah. If you could find it anywhere, you're not allowed to watch that kind of stuff anymore.
Netflix.
Yeah.
It's on Netflix.
That's true. Dave is big on the Netflix, so I got that going on there. Craig, I know you give me up to full screen, by the way, and welcome to Location Bravo. I appreciate you here. And again, much thanks to our sponsors from Grid Defense and Gorilla Machining. That's one of their Gorilla Machining's T-shirts back there. So thank you very much to them. But it's a California story, Craig, and you know the protocol. If it's sorry, your rail's got a little scratch on it. So, you know the protocol. It's a California story, sir. You must take the lead.
Yes, I do realize this. I do realize that. So here's the deal, folks. So in California, they recently deployed. Now, first of all, understand that when you look at the surge in crime that's taken place in major cities across the country, you look at the cities that have some of the biggest leaps, and some of the biggest leaps are right here in California. Los Angeles, Oakland. Matter of fact, we just had a former U.S. senator got mugged and had her phone stolen. You've got it.
Grandma.
Major crime increases all over the country, right? But in California, it seems to be increasing dramatically. We're talking both property crime as well as violent crime. Now, at that time, one of the things you also saw was a dramatic increase in people who were going and purchasing firearms. Once again, all across the country. But the interesting thing in California was, considering the fact that we have things like a firearm safety exam, we have things like a 10-day waiting period with a detailed background check, and all of that, on top of the fact that we're restricted in terms of both handguns and long guns that we can purchase, it was very difficult for people to be able to purchase firearms. And a lot of people who went to the gun store to pick up a gun to be able to defend themselves got a very serious lesson in how the common sense laws that they thought were common sense actually wound up infringing on their right to keep and bear arms. So in a recent poll here in the state of California, we saw a dramatic decrease in the support for gun control. And this was reported, by the way, Mike, in the LA Times. So you know they're probably underestimating the amount of change of people's minds when it came to the support for gun control.
Yeah, very true, very true. Craig, it's amazing how, if you had a lot of people sitting there on the fence, you had a lot of people sitting up on their high horse on the right side that said guns are bad, guns are bad, guns are bad. But then when mobs and crowds started rolling through different locations in California, they went and took part in purchasing a firearm. Like you said, the shock and awe of, what do you mean I got to wait 10 days? The mob's here now, the crowd's here now. And then when they went through all of that nut roll to get their firearms, and they became firearms owners. Now, when the topic of gun control, like you said, when that topic of gun control comes up, they're a little bit easier about their criticism of firearms owners, and the bias that the firearms owner has to face just to become one.
Right, and so people are realizing what we've been saying every time I went before the legislature. It's like, look, you guys don't know what you're doing. You don't know what you're talking about. And when you do these things, it's going to do is infringe on law-abiding citizens' ability to be able to defend themselves, to be able to obtain a firearm and defend themselves. And folks, it's funny because I always get, well, this, that, and the other. It's like, you don't realize the impact of these laws or the reason why we have protections on our fundamental rights. Because as soon as there is a crisis, the first thing the government does is go after those fundamental rights, and those fundamental rights become restricted. Like they tried to shut down gun stores in California. Things like that. In many places in California, if it hadn't been for the fact that they sued, gun stores were shut down for a period of time. So not only could you not get a gun because they were hard to get or you had to go through this long process, but in some cases, gun stores were just flat out shut down. And people found out that all of a sudden, yeah, these things I thought were just common sense are in fact, they're infringements, period. Plain and simple.
Oh, we had the same in Florida. Listen, when we first did remember the 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Remember, Craig, it's about flatten the curve. We'll get there for another story. But with that first 2 weeks, they shut down the liberal mayors of the liberal cities and counties shut down gun stores, and Governor Florida, Ron DeSantis, came in and said, no, those are essential businesses. They can open back up. So yeah, it's amazing. They go straight for your rights that they don't like the most because they want to have more control.
Well, you see them going after the right to free speech when it comes to talking about whether it's coronavirus or critical race theory or Black Lives Matter. The first thing they do is they go after your First Amendment rights. So yeah, anytime any part of any one of your civil rights that get in the way of what they're trying to do, of their perspective, they're going to go after.
Guess why the Second Amendment sits there next to the First Amendment?
In case the first doesn't work out.
The way this was originally designed is you could go to the town square, speak your mind about your government, and when the government came to say you can't speak your First Amendment rights anymore, you could say, let me introduce you to my Second Amendment rights.
Exactamundo. Mic drop moment. Hold on, let me drop my mic.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Craig, I read the story coming up next, and it says Tool used most in mass killings. And I thought this was about the band Tool at first. And then I realized it was not. I moved my cursor over a little more and saw where it said vehicles. We've seen this over and over, Craig. How many times we've seen this in New York? We've seen this a couple of places, out in the West Coast there, and you in California. Overseas, ridiculous amount. I can't tell you the number of times that vehicles were used while I was in a very sandy country with people shooting at me, that vehicles were used as one of the primary sources of weapons to, run over, coalition folks or innocent people there that they did not agree with politically or religiously. So it's vehicles. Craig, didn't we just had one recently in what we thought was one down in South Florida? Remember they were having an LGBT.
Yes. QQI.
I'm mess it up. It's LGBTQ.
LMNOP.
Okay. I really don't. I'm not trying to make fun, but just get the acronym and stick to it. That's all. So they had an LGBT thing going on down in South Florida. Remember,
right.
Deborah Wasserman Schultz was there. Hold on. Sorry, I get a horrible taste in my mouth anytime I say her name. And they had a car speed through the parade, and one person was killed, and they immediately said it was a terrorist. And it ended up being somebody that was actually in the parade that was late and lost control of their vehicle. So based on the way some people keep statistics, Craig, that's probably one of the mass killings with a vehicle. But all kidding aside, vehicles are the most common tool used in mass killings.
Yep. Interestingly enough, yes, internationally especially, they in fact, cars are used in vehicles. You remember Bastille Day there in France, where a person actually rented a big, huge truck and went driving through a parade or a mound of people. The fact is that the point behind this is that I'm not blaming cars. I'm not saying we should ban vehicles. What I'm saying is, if someone decides that they want to kill people, in particular a large number of people, they're going to find a way to do it. Or at least to try.
Sergeant First Class Daniel Suplee, Afghanistan, was killed with a Taliban vehicle. Decided they couldn't build a bomb. They were too big idiots to figure it out, so ran over some coalition soldiers. Killed them. Vehicles are it, folks. It's a 6,000-pound missile. Listen, you drive the big rig, it's 80,000 pounds of steel, right? You do what you want. It is the weapon that is the most chosen weapon to kill with. It's the vehicle. And that's not including the accidents, the regular vehicle accidents we get, the 30, 40,000 a year. That's not including DUIs. That means I want to kill someone today. Let me get a vehicle and go do it. Another reason it's picked in the vehicle is because a lot of times they could say, oh, I lost control. I didn't mean to kill them. And instead of facing murder charges, they get that manslaughter kind of garbage.
Now, Mikey, in all fairness, I'm willing to bet that they didn't include anywhere in this study or the story the times in which vehicles were used in self-defense.
Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. And if they did, that would have been a hate crime vehicle. It would have had to variate from one crime to another. It's just absolutely horrible stuff. Harmful stuff. Let's see. Looking at our comments here. We got Brian says, I don't know if I could do that. I could say that. I think I'm going to skip that. I'll leave that one for you, Craig. But it says a Mustang is the number one car to crash into crowded areas. I did not know
I'm
that.
curious to know. Wait.
I did not know that.
I'm really curious. Oh, let me get back on the screen here. I'm really curious to know, Brian, where'd you get that statistic?
I'm not sure where that
Is it because of the engine, the makeup of it? Is it the most popular? I mean, I don't know if I want to know how you know these things.
Brian did say that an angry woman is what's used the most in man shootings. Oh, wait, you said mass shootings. Sorry. So it's mostly angry women that shoot men, not mass shootings. Got it. Mass killings. Yeah, I don't know where the Mustang thing came in, but we'll find out. We'll see. We got time. What time is it? Yeah, we got time. Let's see. Wait. Look it up on YouTube. Leaving car shows. Okay, we'll do that. We're banned on YouTube today, or that was yesterday. So we will take it under advisement and get back to you. Craig, let's move on to. This is ridiculous, by the way, and I want to talk about something else with this topic as well. The Nancy Pelosi has decided that after the president's the CDC's guidelines that they're going to make it official a mandate that you must wear a mask in the House of Representatives because she's the Speaker of the House. She controls the House. You must wear a mask in the House of Representatives, or here's the kicker: the Capitol Police shall arrest you. So she has given orders to the Capitol Police to arrest people that don't wear a mask. Now, she has zero authority to direct arrests or what people shall be arrested for. She's the Speaker of the House. She is not the Chief Law Enforcement Officer of the House. There actually is somebody for that. That's the Sergeant at Arms, and she is not such. So this is hard to believe. And so what we had was a group of Republican Congresspeoples, because I believe there were men and women there, Republican Congresspeoples, march over to this from the House to the Senate, because guess what? The Speaker of the House has no authority in the Senate unless it's a joint session of Congress, but it was not. And they went over there and made themselves known to the Senate and to the rest of the members of Congress, both houses, that they would not be wearing a mask at all.
Well, one, I'm glad to see them standing up. And here's the thing. What it comes down to is all of this. It's like, look, they've been saying, follow the science, follow the science, follow the science. All the meanwhile, they completely ignore the science. And what does the science tell you? Their science. Now, people who don't believe in vaccines can agree or disagree with the science, but their policies are supposedly based on their science. Their science says if you wear a mask, if you wear a mask, if you are vaccinated, you are about as likely to get sick and die from COVID as you are to be struck by lightning. That's their math, right? I'm not saying you have to agree with it. I'm just saying that's their math upon which they make their decisions. And so with that, they're saying if you've been vaccinated, you have to continue to wear a mask. Well, that makes absolutely no sense. It makes no sense because, let's see, the only people who can really get sick are the ones who are unvaccinated. They know this. They've made the choice not to get vaccinated. I know people get mad at people who are unvaccinated and say, why do I have to live by these restrictions? It's not the people who are unvaccinated who are telling you to do this. They're telling you live your life just like they're living their lives. It's the totalitarians, the bureaucrats who want to tell you how to live their life. I don't know. It's just, am I making any sense, Mike?
Well, you understand the science, so you kind of are, but they don't understand the science, so you can't. Craig, you have to understand the vaccination was for the original COVID-19, right, not for the current Delta Tau Chi chapter of COVID-19. It's a different chapter that we have out there, a different variant that we have out there. So remember, Craig, they can say follow the science all they want. Tell me right now. All right, you want me to follow science? Tell me right now the percentage of ICU beds that are filled with COVID people that are waiting to kick, because you know what? That's what this is all about. 2 weeks, 3 weeks, we're going to flatten the curve. We'll all be back. That's all we want to do. That's all we want to do. And Craig, you and I sat right there and said, bullshit.
Right.
Bullshit.
Right.
This is not going to be 2 or 3 weeks.
Because
drag this out through the election, through midterms, because it's all about control for you.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. It is. And that's the sad part is that you tell people one thing in order to get them to do something, and then they do it, and then you turn around and you tell them something completely different. And you wonder why nobody trusts you. And that's what it comes down to in the end. Yeah. Nobody trusts you because you anyway. You lie. That's the problem. And then you wonder why nobody trusts you or trusts the information that you put forward.
Other story I saw earlier this week was that the detection shot, that they're using, or the detection test for detecting COVID is also the same test. It was also showing that the flu. So if you had the flu, it was showing as COVID, or if you had the COVID, it was showing as flu. And that came out from a couple of reputable sources. And inside of 24 hours, everybody tried to walk it back. No, that's not what we meant. We didn't screw that up. No, that's fake news. You're putting fake news on our fake news. And that's where you had competing fake news stories saying we didn't mean. And what it came down to was they didn't mean to release it.
Right.
So every test that had been shown positive over the last 6 months or a year, nobody knows what it was now. And that's the PCR test that we're talking about. So crazy stuff. House GOP, did you see also, Craig, that they tried to go over to the jail there in Washington, D.C. And to meet with the insurrectionists from January 6th?
I did not see that, but I have seen stories that are comparing, like, for example, one individual was accused of, and they actually have him on tape beating up a police officer. And he was released ROR, while someone who is still at this point only charged with entering the Capitol is sitting in isolation, is sitting in solitary confinement in jail.
Democrats cried about terrorists in Guantanamo Bay, yet they're doing the same thing to American citizens in the District of Columbia. We're talking about 7 months now, Craig.
Right.
People have been sitting in that jail while the congresspersons, people were there trying to get in. Attorneys were there trying to get in and could not get in to see their clients.
Well, and Mike, mind you, once again, and most of these people are only charged with being in the Capitol, illegally being in the Capitol. And I don't know if more charges are going to be added or anything like that, but that's what most of these people are being charged with.
Yeah, you want an insurrection? Keep them there longer. See what happens when people actually show up angry and they want to take something from you, rather than just take a tour of the building. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to say this, and I've looked at some of the stuff. There were some people who did a lot more than that, but I think a lot of the people who they've arrested probably didn't do much more than that. Anyway. Yeah. Well, that having been said, Mike, we need to get to the closing shot, the parting shot.
All right, I will let you take this.
All right, folks, and we talk a lot about this. You might notice that we talk a lot about China. We talk a lot about Hollywood. We talk a lot about identity politics and all that stuff. And this particular video we wanted to share with you because we really think it hits all of those marks. Now, here's what I want you to understand. This video is a parody. But the things that are pointed out in this video are actually happening. This is real stuff, folks. This is real stuff. Check it out.
My name's Clark, and I'm the editor who cuts out scenes from Hollywood movies for the China releases. Clip that out. Whether that be an LGBTQ kiss, something a little too diverse, they would not want that. Anything encouraging protesting or overtly sexual. And once I'm able to isolate those scenes, I put them in a bin right here, gay scenes, and then I'm able to use those exact sections of the films to create little promos for social media celebrating the communities we've just extracted from the China releases. For example, I just removed all of the gay kiss scenes from Bohemian Rhapsody. That was a big no-go for China. Back in for the China release. And the Star Wars lesbian kiss scene, of course. And I was able to use both of those scenes for my Love is Love compilation for the studio's Pride Month social. Yeah, I work with all the big studios, Disney, Paramount. If you've ever watched a progressive scene in a movie, just know that I'm the person who removed it for audiences in China. I'm sort of like a utility player for some of these studios. Look, on the topic of Star Wars, I was doing the graphics recently. See, I had 2 different posters here, so what I did was I was able to isolate the black actor in the American version. We're able to make John substantially smaller here. And then I was also able to take that isolated photo for a We Celebrate Diversity social media post that we're working on here in America. 007 Skyfall, I got rid of some references to prostitution. We're in talks to use some of those select clips as part of our Sex Work is Real Work campaign. I like to think of myself as a general fixer. Just recently I edited out the Tiananmen Square footage from Activision's Black Ops Cold War trailer. See right here we had know your history or be deemed to repeat it. We're doomed to just get rid of that altogether. I'm gonna take that and use it for We Support Protests domestically post. You know, sometimes me and the studio heads will joke around that on the editing floor it's no homo and China's homo. Or diversity when not overseas. It's a very complicated puzzle. I mean, recently America has made huge moves to support LGBTQ and diversity initiatives at home. But it goes without saying that progress can't come at the expense of these studios' profits, so we have to tread a fine line. You know, sometimes we're just tampering with something small, like changing the back patch in Top Gun so no one thinks Taiwan's a democracy. Popping out a few kiss scenes in Mulan, or getting rid of a couple uncomfortable scenes in Django Unchained. This scene was a big no in China. And sometimes it's something massive, like changing every single Chinese flag to a North Korean flag in Red Dawn. That was my handiwork right there. In industries outside of Hollywood, this game can be a little simpler. You know, Google CEO, for example, was able to vocalize his support for protests domestically while removing any protest-related apps from the App Store in China. And Nike can sort of slide under the radar with the Kaepernick thing here and the you go to jail for protesting over there. They remove a few jerseys and it goes relatively undetected. But in the movie business, it's a more difficult puzzle to solve. The actors in these films have been recently very vocal of their participation in the movement. So it's very important to those actors that we still appear to be supporting those movements here, even though they're being wiped from the films entirely abroad, thus preserving their public image domestically. Pirates of the Caribbean, we cut a lot of stuff out. Protest for thee, but not for Chinese.
All right, so Mikey, basically what they're talking about in this whole video is literally how you take movies and they celebrate all the wokeness in it, and then they turn around and they send it over to China and they take all the wokeness out so that they can make money.
Well, listen, you don't want to waste that stuff, right? You've taken it out. You've got it saved on the side. Make a promo, like they said, for the city of Denver or some other celebration that's going on somewhere in the country. It's good stuff. It's good stuff.
Well, but that shows the hypocrisy of Hollywood, because in the end, it's the reason why you have LeBron talking all bad about America, but he won't say anything about China, who has actual slaves making his shoes, probably. I don't want to say that they do. I don't know that they do for sure, but there's a good likelihood that they do.
And listen, they got the kids working them, so you got them little tiny hands with them fine details. You know, that's why the sneakers come out looking better, right? Right, LeBron? Right, LeBron? You're okay with that, LeBron?
Oh man. Okay, hey, so let's go back. It's time. I'm going to let you decide today who the commenter of the day was. So we had Brian Bradley on Facebook, but we also had Fiber Optic over on YouTube, which were both of them were very, very active commenting. Did a phenomenal. Had some very, very hysterical things to say. Did you have a chance to read any of the stuff from Fiber Optic over at YouTube?
I only get to look at the My Face. I don't get to look at the YouTube, but I did want to say hello to everybody that was watching. Hello to Deidre. Hello to Marion. Hello to Rasmussen. Hello to everybody that's watching out there. So thanks for stopping by. I read you pretty much everything Brian said that I caught. So you're gonna have to judge that, Craig, and what you saw over there at. What'd you say? MCI, AT&T, fiber optic. What is it? Fiber optic. Yes.
Yeah. So my favorite comment from him was probably he talked about how he'd like to the vehicle he'd like to use. He thought was best to be used for driving through crowds would be the New York sanitation truck. I thought that was hysterical. He also referred to Barbara Boxer as Bow Wow Boxer. I thought that was also very, very funny. He's like, we need an insurrection to release the insurrectioners.
We do. I heard that somewhere. We do.
So, Brian, with all due respect, and you did a phenomenal job. I hate to say this. I am going to give the nod to Mr. Fiber Optic over at YouTube. Fiber Optic, congratulations. Do me a favor. Just drop me a line. Send me a message. If you're on Facebook, send me a message to our Facebook page. If you're not there, Craig@usmediagroup.net. Craig@usmediagroup.net with your information, and we will make sure to get your prize over to you.
That's it. You can reach me at 117.038 at CompuServe.com.
At CompuServe.com. Oh my God. You're showing your age there, sir. You're showing your age.
Listen, I know we're supposed to get out of here, but anytime I go somewhere and you must give them your email address before you leave, buying the product. I've got a very old AOL account, and I kept telling them the name at AOL, and they were like, A what? AOL, AUL, AI. I was like, you're telling me you've never heard of AOL before? And they're like, no.
Evidently, they've never heard of AOL.
Nope, had not. Never heard of it. So there you go. Take that, you old fool. Yeah.
I wonder sometimes, sir. I wonder. Anyway, folks, it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for telling your friends about the rundown. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Follow us on Facebook. Follow us on YouTube. We would very much appreciate your support and encourage others to do the same.
Ditto.
All right. Y'all have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend, folks.